Good. Okay, I think I'm live. I hope I'm live. Am I live? Hi, everybody. Thank you. I just got full instructions from Anna and forgot them all immediately. So I'm going to say, yes, you can hear me. Thank you. I'm watching closely the chat room. First, I want to thank all of you out there for spending this time with me. I'm honored. You could be a million other places, and thank you for being here. And a huge, huge thank you to Anna and the entire Llewellyn team for making this amazing week plus 10 days of magic for all of us. So I'm very excited. So my favorite subject, well, one of my many favorite subjects, dolls. Not just dolls, haunted dolls. Dolls. If you could see here, we've got dolls. Haunted, two of them. This one and that one. They might move around. You can't see it. Belle is my main in that burgundy, and you might see her wink or move and things like that. But I promise no curses going through the airwaves or anything like that. I only have positive haunted dolls. And that's why I have a brand new book out, which is why we're here, from Llewellyn, of course. It's called DOLLCRAFT, and it's called A Witch's Guide to Poppet Magic and Haunted Dolls. I wanted to combine my paranormal world. I've been on ghost adventures for the last 10 years, working with Zach and the guys, doing all the paranormal and haunted things, and then my witchy side with half the books about magical poppets. But today we are going to focus on dolls and haunted dolls. Why? Because they are everywhere. I have been a doll collector my entire life. Besides these beauties right behind me, if I turned my camera around, you would see hundreds of eyes looking at me, mostly very little eyes. I'm a Barbie collector since before I was born, since before I left. I had a Barbie collection. I had a doll collection, and they've always been a beautiful, wonderful part of my life. And then when the paranormal thing came in, so did haunted dolls. And right now, mostly thanks to Hollywood, dolls have never been more popular. More adult men and women having doll collections and haunted doll collections. This did not happen in my dad's day. I could not see my dad having any kind of a doll collection. But now we do, grown-ups of all ages, all genders, everything in the middle. Why? Why? Because one, they're showing themselves more, because I believe the veil is just thinner and thinner and thinner as we're moving into that age of Aquarius they sang about in the 60s. Again, and television shows about haunted dolls. More than anything, movies about haunted dolls, that's where a lot of the negative stuff comes in. Annabelle, the whole Conjuring series, Chucky the doll, Robert the doll. So I became an expert on these things just because it's been a part of my life forever and ever and ever. So the one thing that I will say here now and over again, this is serious stuff. This is, it's having another spirit into your home. All of you, if you are here and you're part of Llewellyn, you probably believe in the spirit world. So whether these spirits are coming in, it's about real magic and a responsibility of working with these haunted dolls, a spirit you've brought into your house. So my first rule is to have a positive doll. They could be just as spooky. They could be just as magical. My husband and I are downstairs and nobody's upstairs, and we hear the pitter patter of Belle's little feet right there. It's like, okay, she's moving around. She's playing with a dog. She's playing with a cat. And they're really fun. And again, you could have the spooky factor. You could have I have a beautiful spirit in my house factor. But if you have a negative haunted doll, it's just trouble, and not curses and you're going to go this and that. It's just they drain energy. Draining your energy can bring illness and arguing and all sorts of things. So that's what this class is about, the acquisition and care and feeding of a haunted doll. So I'm looking in here. So, thank you, Jason, for saying my book is awesome. Jason Mankey, what do you do on Wednesday nights? You go to YouTube and you watch the Witches Movie Coven with Jason Mankey and myself, Heather Green of Llewellyn, Richard Allard, and Courtney. We talk about witches and witchy movies. So there's my little commercial. So thank you for that, Jason. So let's talk dolls. Dolls. What are dolls? What is a doll? It's a spirit that takes a vessel, and a disembodied spirit could go into most anything. But if you were some disembodied spirit and you were looking for a vessel, you could go into anything, a toaster, and they have, a stapler, somebody's candle. But why wouldn't you go into something with eyes and a nose and a face. Again, you will be recognized, you will be noticed with that. So that's why there are so many haunted dolls, because if I was disembodied, I would pick a doll over a toaster or something with that face. Just like a lot of traditional witchcraft, they're familiars versus in your cat or your animal familiar, they'll put them just in a skull. So you have the eyes and the nose and the face. You could whisper into the ears. You could look into the eyes. You could speak into the voice. And call in the spirit there, because cats get so cranky sometimes, but that's another cast. A plushie, yes, Daryl, that can be haunted plushie. And again, if they have, actually, yeah, we talked about the thing. We won't go. They certainly can be haunted plushies. I have my share of plushies and everything, not haunted. And I must say, just for heck of it, of my hundreds, yes, hundreds of Barbies, not one of them is haunted. I think because she is just such the ultimate goddess in herself that she doesn't need to be haunted. So anyway, deciding if you want a doll in your house. Many of us, again, we're magical practitioners. We have altars, we do spell work. So we have the veil open a lot. So we really have to do some really big consideration. And what is the spirit that gets into a doll? Again, you want to call in. It's usually a formerly human spirit that you want to do. There is a difference. If you have a residual doll that has an energy of something, think of that. That may not have a spirit in it. Maybe some little girl or some little boy loved that doll so much, held that doll. That's an imprint. That's what all you clairvoyants out there and psychometry working. It's like, I feel the spirit in this necklace or in this doll. That's different than having the disembodied spirit come into the doll. That's more of a residual spirit, the feeling of the happiness of this child or the feeling of the longing of this child. But to bring in a real spirit, you are bringing in a real spirit. So really do a lot of auditioning, if that makes sense. You don't open your front door for anybody to come in. You don't want to do it in haunted dolls. So say you're looking, you've thought about it, and yes, I have space for one that's positive. I can have a new family member, because it really is like a new family member. So I want to get one. Where do you go? You can go to eBay, but be wary. And I talk about that in my book too. If you see one seller that has a really high price on dolls, and they have like 900 haunted dolls, all with long, beautiful stories, they are probably more a creative writer than a collector of haunted dolls. Now, I'm not saying that's all. There is real ones out there, but one person who has that many, the only option would be weirdness, or they made it up, or they've called the spirit into the doll. And I'm going to teach you quickly how to call the spirit into a doll. If you have another doll, or you want to find one at a thrift store or a secondhand store that doesn't have a spirit or a special doll, how to literally, like we call in spirits, like we create spirits within everything that we do, our dragons or this or that, you can call a spirit. But again, if you're paying overpriced and that seller has way too many with long and involved stories, if they called in a spirit, they could say, I have called in a spirit. I got the spirit of this little girl, and here's her story. But it's not going to be the big detail that you get in a lot of things. I've gotten one from one of my influencer friends, and she gave me this doll because it was haunted and didn't know what to do. There was not a spirit in it. Not a spirit whatsoever. And that's okay, but you can create your own. So say if you do have one, be very careful, because sadly, with the popularity of haunted dolls, so thus becomes a very big money market. Not my Black Phillip. No, Black Phillip, he's a whole entity of his own. We all have Black Phillip, and the spirit goes everywhere, which is a little black goat fleshy that we dress up with bling. So I digress. If you are drawn to a doll in a thrift shop or yard sale, yes, that is the one you want to buy if it feels good to you. Again, you guys are all magical workers. What is that first intuition, that first gut feeling? I'm drawn to this doll. It probably means it have a spirit. That's why I say, if you want to go look at a thrift store, a secondhand store, they have a bin of dolls. They have a line of dolls sitting there. This one right there, my Salem doll, She was sitting in Salem. There's thus the name. And I tried I was drawn to her. It's like, I don't need her. I was drawn to her. I don't need her. But I didn't even think she had a spirit whatsoever. It's just she was a beautiful doll and I had to have her. All my friends didn't talk me out of buying her as I asked, and that's okay. But guess what? Just now, this little spirit is starting to develop and come out. A little spirit is coming out. So I'm going to tell you a little bit my story. So if you are drawn to a doll, first go with, what is that first gut feeling? Well, I'm drawn to this doll. And then, do a moment meditation or something. What does it feel like? If it feels positive, buy it. If it feels negative, do a little more research, do a little more thinking. Maybe go home for the night, maybe, do a meditation on it or do a little ritual on it. Because again, the negative side of a darkly haunted doll is not worth the fun of having a haunted doll. I'll give you a little story on mine. My Belle will explain this. She's the girl in the burgundy. I'm considered this expert on dolls. And this one girl had seen me on one of actually, it wasn't Ghost Adventures. It was one of the spin-offs called Ghostly Lovers with this very famous doll named Peggy the doll. Zach flew me in to do a seance with this. She's a little 60s, looks like Doris Day. She doesn't look spooky, holding this little hand. And they flew in the girl who then owned her, and they flew in the girl who had been given a heart attack by Peggy. So we did all these cord cuttings and we did all this stuff. So this girl in Belgium who had owned Belle, and Belle had made her literally sick for 3 years, made her hair fall out, made her little child, her toddler, sick. For 3 years that she had her. She loved the doll and knew she was not supposed to be thrown away, but unless she kept it in a drawer or in the shed, which Belle didn't like, it made her sick. So she saw me having a seance with Peggy the doll on television and said, so she contacted me and said, can I send you this doll? And I'm like, sure, of course you can, send her away. So she, with my permission, she sent this doll. And I had never at this time even done a Facebook Live before. Never. I didn't have that many followers yet. And something told me, the doll, that I had to open it on a Facebook Live. I'm like, this is silly. That doll, 50,000 people watched me open that doll. These are not my followers. This is what the doll brought in, such a strong energy. At that time, I would have got maybe 50 people watching it, not 50,000. And the energy called it in over the airwaves. I got it open, and here's this beautiful doll with such a dark energy. I felt it the second. You feel it bubbling up inside you. You guys know what that is. It's like, this is not good. Yes, we got 50,000 people watching me open it, but I am not going to let the sun set. Before I do not, my house has to be my sanctuary. Again, my dog, my cat, my husband, myself, I see clients, that has to be a sanctuary. So I banished the dark spirit within her. I kind of had a inkling. I always knew that there was a good spirit in there because, again, the Belle that wanted to stay with her, but I just banish. I worked with Rue. I did a banish. It worked within your belief system, work within your religion, your philosophy. There's lots of ways to do it. In my little book, Dollcraft, if we had more time, I'd explain, but work with whatever. If you need to smudge it, you need to do this, you need to banish whatever, if it's negative. So there she sat. And I knew there was something in there. But even when she sat, she drained energy. So I kept a little Dixie cup of the herb rue. Rue really helps take away that pull of negative energy until she got settled. And all of a sudden, this beautiful little spirit came out of Belle. And now she has friends all over the world. I see orbs flying by everywhere. That's my house. Now, with the girl next to Belle, Cheryl, let me see. How could you tell if there's already a spirit within a doll? There are lots of physical signs. Thank you, Emily. Yes. Well, if you have the doll in your possession, like, again, it's one of your dolls from childhood, or you got them all from grandma, whatever, you're going to notice good things and bad things, changes of mood for no reason, things moving, because they have different energy imprints, from trauma to grief to love, obsession, and all that. So you're going to take that on, because again, everybody here is very empathic, or you probably wouldn't be here. So you could see them moving. Like Belle, people see her move all the time. This is a 105-year-old porcelain face. It doesn't really move. But 3 people in a row will walk in and go, Belle's happy today. Belle's happy today. Belle's happy today. And she's happy. The next day, 3 people will come in and go, ooh, Belle's kind of cranky. Belle's kind of cranky. Her face hasn't moved, but you could read it through the energy, just like we do with people. So look at those dolls, whether you're in a thrift store or you have something, and get that feeling and ask around the people that work in the antique or thrift store, anything about this doll, and you'll be surprised. They're happy to say, oh yeah, people buy her and bring her back, or people, whatever that is, or they, there's something she doesn't stay on the shelf. She falls off at night. There are literal physical signs. I collect international folk art when I can afford it. I've been wanted here. Strong possibility that would have a spirit. Strong things have spirits. Again, they collect the energy of things, and especially old things and folk things and things that were attached to magic. Dolls have been a part of magic and spell casting and just folklore since humans have began. Again, that's why I did my second half of the book on poppets, which that's another class, how to create your own spirit, your poppet for love, your poppet for health, your poppet for money, your poppet for all those things you want to do. But this is calling in an outside spirit. But look for movement in the doll. Look for facial changes, sounds and whispers, whether they're outside whispers or inside. It's like, wow, I am hearing whispers of something. Look for, again, if you're into the paranormal world, cold spots. If you have like little EMF readers or apps on your phone, put on your ghost radar, put on, see if the doll talks to you. It's like all of a sudden, oh, wow, there is a spirit there. Dreams and visions, all of a sudden, if your dreams and visions, if the doll is in your possession. And one of the best ways to see, because they are so psychic, is reaction of your animals. Dogs and cats can see the energy. Even when Belle was first there, when she was just too drainy, my dog and my cat would not go near her. They just avoided her, didn't like her. And then all of a sudden, as she's taking space, they're getting closer and closer. Now they curl up by her. They want to be by her. So really tell by your animals, their behavior. And again, more than anything else, the animals is how you feel physically. If you have physical illness or there's an energy drain, it's not a spirit you want to have. You want to banish it, sell it. Be full disclosure though, if you're selling it, just saying, I don't want it, I think it's a dark spirit. And thank you, Granddaughter Crow. It's so good to see you. I saw you saying that you were wary about dolls, but the one thing I do believe, and I've been talking to spirits since I was 4. I've been doing seances since I was 7. And my one belief system, and therefore true because I've always held to it, is this is our realm of existence. The other realm where all the magic is and spirits and ghosts and angels and demons and elementals and guides, this is our world. And so if something comes in, it's like feels negative, I go, you're not welcome here. That's it. Not with anger, not with fear, in the name of whatever you believe in the name of your angels, your dragons, your gods, your whatever, in the name of your higher self, in the name of your Louboutin shoes. Guess what? They do 99.9% of the time. When you see somebody getting also taken over or a negative spirit in, they've allowed it to happen. Most of the time, they just don't know better. They just don't know better. So they let it happen. So when you do want to protect and you do want boundaries. So there's lots of ways to do it. Smudging things, smoking. Be careful with sage, because sage does push away spirits. So unless you're really trying to get rid of something, I would move towards cedar or Palo Santo or something. Moonlight, again, rue is great. Bells, one of my favorite thing in the world, clearing houses, is bells. You know, science is figuring all this stuff about bells right now, how the church bells are gone. Bells, the megahertz in them and the sound in them can change and clear and cleanse in mere seconds. Every house should have one, whether you have a haunted doll or not. Again, get to know your doll before you do. Put protective crystals, dark crystals, black crystals, tourmalines, always my favorite. You know, if you need to put some salt around the doll or cascarilla powder, do it. A lot of people, if haunted dolls, good or bad, they'll put them in glass cases. But get to know them. She would not be. I'm not a case girl. Even my Barbies are not. She can't breathe, so I'm not a case girl. So that's why I couldn't have a negative doll. I had one negative spirit I had it for 2 years and it was fine. It wasn't even haunted. It was a voodoo doll thing. And all of a sudden I noticed that I'm not hanging in my office. I love my beautiful little office. Why do I take my laptop upstairs or I go in the other room? And I'm looking around and I saw this little doll and I go, oh, it's you. So me, I'm like, I don't want you here. So me being me, I called Zach Bagans. I go, Zach, I have this doll. It's too dark for me. I do not want this in my home. My home has to be my sanctuary. He's like, well, what does it look like? And he text him a picture, goes, oh yeah, that's a nail fetish hate doll. I want it. Took it to Vegas. That very next day, that doll started acting up in the museum. But that's where that doll belongs, in a museum where people don't sleep, where there's not children or illness or animals or pets. So again, be very careful of that. So avoid bedrooms for new dolls, again, because when you're asleep with things, you are speaking to my 3-year-old self. Yeah, dolls are great. Again, and if they're not, you move them on. When they get past your protection awards is what if they get past your well, if they get past your protection awards and it's negative, it's time to get rid of them. In my book, I even have a funeral for a doll. But again, if you decide to do everything with respect, again, good and bad and spirits and ritual, to me, the one thing that gets anybody in trouble is lack of respect. Everything wants to be respected. So always treat everything with respect, but know that you are in control. This is our realm. You have your boundaries. You have everything that you want to put up within it. Often it is believed clearing spirits from items and location requires knowing the type of spirit in question. Hi, Phil. Tulpa versus thought form versus natural spirits or entities. Could you briefly explain the difference between these and how to identify them? Again, that's going to be using your intuition or what? A tulpa and spirits and all the are created entities like a tulpa, egregore, servitor. All those are things that were created spirits have gone in. I think you really have to use your intuition. I don't believe you have to know my belief system, and that's just mine. Everybody else is going to be different. My belief system is I look at high vibration, low vibration. I study religion and philosophy because when I'm in a big old haunted house somewhere, I kind of want to know, oh, we're going to go this kind of deity or dark entity or whatever it is. I have not always known was this a created spirit? Because again, with the doll world and what everybody is pointing to, it almost always is a disembodied spirit. Almost always. It's not a created thing. Again, that gets into the energy pulled in by the child, by whoever, unless it was magically created. And then hopefully you know that. So explain the difference between these and how to identify them. Again, do yourself a little meditation, do a little moment, trust that intuition before your logical brain gets in the way and second guesses yourself. Sit down, get your doll's history from you if you can. And if you work with deities, work with your deities, work with your guides, work with whatever it is that works with you. Protection nets, Daryl, that's a beautiful tip. Putting protection nets, energetic nets around things, energetic bubbles around things, energetic mirrors around things. All of that works. We know everything is just energy. And again, there's some super famous dolls out there. Annabelle. Annabelle right now, she's the one that's being credited with burning down a plantation in New Orleans and having a bunch of prisoners escape. I don't know if she gets all that credit, but a few months ago, I was doing a convention and it was the Warrens Museum, just a curtain behind my table where I had my books and things. And I'm like, oh boy, I could feel it. I had to put up super protection because I just did not want that energy of Annabelle and a million other haunted items. But I put up so much protection, both around my space and along the curtain and a bubble around me, that later that evening, we went to do a cocktail party at the Warrens Museum. I danced with Annabelle, danced wildly. And she was so happy because I blocked anything negative. You set the intention of what you want to do. So I love that. Thank you, Daryl. Protection nets are great. So Annabelle is a very famous one. Everybody says she's very demonic. My personal belief system is that 90+% of things that people say are demonic, especially people in the mundane world, not our magical world, is just cranky ghosts and cranky spirits. It's just that they're a demon wannabe at very best. Not saying there isn't demonic stuff. And Annabelle, maybe. Robert the doll is a very famous one. One of my friends is one of his doll tenders, this beautiful man named David. Peggy the doll, again, gets people sick. I now go to Zach bought her. He's in Zach's Haunted Museum. Great museum, lots of dolls. If you ever get to Vegas, it's worth the trip if you're into this sort of thing, but you're all here. When I go in now, not everybody goes in, and people, it's like, I go, hi, Peggy, do you remember me? Oh, you look so pretty today. You were supposed to always say hello. There's protocol, and you create your own protocol for your doll. She just curses at me. She has a little spirit box there where, they talk through the white noise, and I can't repeat now what she says to me and calls me. So she remembers me, but I come in love and I thank her and I leave. Again, wouldn't want her in my house, would not want her in my house. So again, the best thing, I'm watching time. We have a couple more minutes. Antiques and thrift stores are great. Flea markets, estate sales are great to find them. And just be careful. If you do get one on eBay or online, really check out the reviews, really check out how creative is the story behind each doll. And then trust your intuition more than anything else. Oh, thank you again, Daughter Crow. So again, test the sellers, vet the sale. What is your energy while you're shopping, whether in a store or online? What are you thinking? Again, and biggest thing to me about, if you want to create a doll, let me go there real quick. You have a doll, you want to call a spirit. Just like if you're working and you're creating a tulpa, a servitor, egregore, whatever you want to do, be very careful of what it might take a while. Inviting in spirits, work with your guides or your deities that you work with. I am inviting in a disembodied spirit. I want a spirit that's nice and friendly and wants to be there, but never, ever, ever force a spirit. I don't believe in trapping a spirit within a doll. If a spirit ever wants to leave, which I have not had happen yet, you let it leave. You let it leave. You don't trap it in there, because you wouldn't want to be trapped somewhere. They don't want to be trapped somewhere either. Thank you, Daryl. So again, if you need to banish, work with, again, your intent is the most important. Work with authority, work with your voice, work with your tools, your banishing. Then you might want to add some sage into there. Spirit, if you want to rehome something, rehome, but be very, let people know that I'm getting rid of this doll for a reason. It didn't work for me along the way. So when you're first getting in a doll, okay, really fast, get it to know the family, introduce it to your animals, to your children, to your roommates, to your spouses. See if you'll start feeling if it likes your magical practice, if you're in our witchy world. If it doesn't like your magical practice, you might be adopting a real evangelistic doll that kind of freaks out. You might have to explain it to her, and then they go, oh, okay. And so it's a spirit. It's a real spirit. So any other questions? I know I'm talking fast again. So what it is, it's a spirit believed to be influenced by a spirit, energy, or entity. You could test it with apps and phones, but your intuition, your knowledge, your knowing is the very best. I highly recommend them for you like the world on the other side of the veil, and we do, but have one that works with your belief system, with your home life, with your family. Again, watch for the changes, watch for things moving around. Use protections like cascarilla powder, tourmaline, rue, protective sigils. I work a lot of sigil work. I will put sigils, under her cute little dress when I first had her, just to cleansing things. Work within your magical realm, whatever that is. Yes, and they do have diverse energy. Just like if you walk into a room of people and every person's going to have such a different personality, every one of these have a complete different personality. And it's pretty cool, just like we do. So clear boundaries, number one. Respect, number two. I don't have time to go into, there's a doll in Japan called Okiko. Her hair grows. They take her out once a year and her hair keeps growing. So it's a beautiful interest of it. I talk about a lot of it in the book. If you're interested in that, it's really fun. But a lot of it is just practical music, what to do. So bond with your doll, bond slowly. Don't push it or rush it, just like you're bringing someone new into your life. Cleanse regularly, whether it's in sunlight, whether it's with a bell, whether it is with some gentle smudge. Offer items to the dog, get to know it, almost like we do with any spirit. Offer items. Maybe they want sparkly things, or they want some crystals of their own, or they want you to play nice music. The more you start trusting your intuition, the one thing that's really good before we end is that having a doll, a positive haunted doll, will help you with your intuition, your mediumship ability, your psychic ability, because you have a spirit to work off of. You have a spirit to work off. So it's plus plus, so long as it fits into your world. Before, in the last minute, any other specific questions you have? Don't let it pull your hair out. Don't let it do anything. Any specific questions? This was real fast. This is an hour and a half class, but I did it, part of it, in a half an hour. I do teach this at my school. I have a school called University Magicus. I have about 20 teachers now. Many people here are my teachers that you're seeing at LlewellynCon, the world's most affordable, not free like this. We are so lucky to have LlewellynCon, but it is $20 or less a class online, just kind of like this, but little Zoom squares. So thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. Check out my book, available for Llewellyn and everywhere, DOLLCRAFT, A Witch's Guide to Poppet Magic and Haunted Dolls. Even doll tea parties, doll funerals, doll magic of every time. Add a little magic into your life with eyes. That's it. Thank you guys again. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, everybody. So what am I going on? Do I wait until it stops?